She walked into the kitchen with that glow. You know the one? The kind of smile that's supposed to make your heart skip a beat. "Honey," she said, her voice shaking with emotion. "I have the most incredible news." I looked up from my coffee. It was 7 in the morning on a Tuesday. I've been sleeping in the spare bedroom for half a year. "I'm pregnant," she whispered, tears pooling in her eyes. "We're finally going to have a baby." The room went completely still. She waited for me to leap up, to embrace her, to cry tears of happiness with her. Instead, I took a slow, deliberate sip of my coffee, set the mug down on the counter with care, and said 5 words that drained every ounce of color from her face. "Congratulations. Who's the father?" Please like this video and listen to my story till the end and let me know which city you're listening from. That way, I can see how far my story has traveled. Her smile shattered like dropped glass. "WH, what did you just say?" I pulled out my phone, opened my calendar app, and turned the screen toward her face. "March 15th. That's the last time we shared a bed. It's now September 22nd. That's 6 months and 7 days. I zoomed in on the calendar display. Every single night for the past 6 months was marked with the same simple note: spare room. "So, I'll ask again," I said, my voice steady as steel. "Who's the father?" Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. And that's when I pulled out the second phone, the one she had no idea existed, the one that had been recording absolutely everything. "My name is Marcus Bennett. I'm 39 years old, and I live in Austin, Texas. I'm a software engineer, work from home most days, which means I'm around the house more than the average husband. Keep that detail in mind. It matters. My wife, Jennifer, is 36. She's a real estate agent, a successful one, too. She's got the luxury SUV, the designer handbags, the whole polished package. We've been married for 8 years. No children, not because we didn't want them. We'd been to fertility specialists, undergone all the tests, spent thousands upon thousands on treatments. The diagnosis was crystal clear. I had a low sperm count. Not impossible to conceive naturally, but highly unlikely without medical intervention. We'd attempted IVF twice. Both times ended in failure. After the second failure, Jennifer completely shut down. "I can't do this anymore, Marcus. It's too hard, too emotionally draining." I understood, or at least I thought I did. "We can take a break," I told her gently. "Focus on us for a while." She nodded, but something fundamental changed after that conversation. She started working later hours, attending more networking events, spending entire weekends at open houses. Then one night in March, she said something that made my stomach drop. "I think we should sleep in separate rooms for a while." I stared at her, confused. "What? Just temporarily," she added quickly. "I'm stressed out. I'm not sleeping well. I just need some space to clear my head." "Space? Jennifer, we're married." "I know, and I love you, but I need this. Please, Marcus." I didn't fight it. Maybe I should have, but I moved into the spare bedroom and stayed there for 6 entire months. At first, I convinced myself it was temporary, that she needed time to process the fertility struggles. But weeks turned into months and nothing changed. We barely touched each other, barely talked beyond basic logistics. "Can you pick up groceries? I'll be home late tonight. Did you pay the electric bill?" We were roommates sharing a house, not spouses sharing a life. Then I started noticing other things. New lingerie appearing in the laundry that I'd never seen her wear. Perfume I didn't recognize. Late-night texts she'd frantically hide whenever I walked into the room. One night, I heard her on the phone in the bedroom. The door was slightly cracked open. Her voice was low, intimate, tender in a way she hadn't spoken to me in months. "I miss you too," she whispered into the phone. "I can't wait to see you again." My stomach twisted into knots. I stood frozen in the hallway, listening as my wife told another man she loved him. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I did what any software engineer would do when faced with a problem. I gathered data. I started documenting everything meticulously. Dates, times, patterns of behavior. I checked our phone records and found a number that appeared constantly, late nights, early mornings, during her lunch breaks. I ran the number through a reverse lookup service. His name was Kyle Henderson, 32 years old, personal trainer at the gym Jennifer had joined 3 months earlier. Of course he was. I looked him up on social media. Chiseled jaw, visible abs in every photo. The kind of guy who posts shirtless selfies with motivational quotes about living your best life. I felt physically sick, but I kept digging deeper. I installed a GPS tracker on her car, completely legal in Texas as long as you co-own the vehicle. I tracked her movements and cross-referenced them with her calendar appointments. Showing a house in Westlake translated to 2 hours parked at Kyle's apartment complex. Client dinner downtown meant a hotel bar followed by 3 hours in the same hotel room. Girls' weekend in Houston coincided perfectly with Kyle's social media posts showing him in Houston that exact same weekend. Every lie documented, every betrayal time-stamped and recorded. I built a spreadsheet, color-coded and cross-referenced. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it with absolute precision. But I needed more than circumstantial evidence. I needed undeniable proof. So I bought a voice-activated recorder, small, discreet, magnetic. I placed it under the driver's seat of her car. Texas is a one-party consent state for recordings, though there's a gray area with vehicle recordings. I didn't care about gray areas. I needed the truth. For 2 weeks, I listened to nothing but radio stations and phone calls with real estate clients. Then one night, I heard it. Her voice. His voice. Together. "I can't keep doing this," Jennifer said, sounding stressed. "Marcus is getting suspicious." "So leave him already," Kyle replied casually. "You said the marriage was over anyway." "It's not that simple. There's money involved, assets. The house, his stock options." My hands clenched into fists. "What if we just wait it out?" Kyle suggested. "You said he's barely emotionally present anyway." Jennifer laughed, actually laughed. "He's basically a ghost in his own house. We haven't had sex in 6 months." "Good," Kyle said. "More for me then." They both laughed together. I stopped the recording, sat in my car in the driveway, and made a decision. I called a lawyer the very next day. If you've ever had your trust completely shattered by someone you loved, type betrayed in the comments. And stick with me, because what happens next in court will shock you. Her name was Patricia Morgan, the lawyer. She'd handled a colleague's divorce 2 years prior. He'd recommended her with just one sentence: "She doesn't lose." I sat at her downtown office and played her the recordings. She listened without interrupting once. When the audio finished, she leaned back in her leather chair. "How long has this affair been going on?" "At least 3 months that I can confirm. Possibly longer." "And you've been in separate bedrooms for 6 months total?" "Correct." She made a note in her legal pad. "That's going to matter significantly." "Why?" "Because if she tries to claim any child as yours, we can establish a clear pattern of separation. No cohabitation, no physical intimacy. It creates reasonable doubt." I frowned, confused. "She's not pregnant." Patricia looked at me with knowing eyes. "Not yet." I didn't understand what she meant by that. Not until 3 weeks later. I was working from home, standard Tuesday afternoon. Jennifer had a property showing scheduled for that day. I heard her come through the front door around 4 o'clock. Heard her footsteps go straight to the bedroom without even a greeting. Then I heard something else. Crying. I walked down the hallway and knocked on the bedroom door. "Jennifer, are you okay?" "I'm fine," she called out, but her voice was thick with emotion. "You don't sound fine." A long pause. "Just give me a minute, please." I waited in the hallway. 5 minutes later, she emerged. Her eyes were red and puffy, but she was smiling, actually glowing. "Marcus," she said softly, reaching for my hands. "Can we talk for a moment?" We sat together in the living room. She took both my hands in hers, something she hadn't done in months. "I know things have been incredibly hard between us," she started, her voice trembling. "I know I've been distant and cold." I said nothing, just waited. "But I have incredible news to share with you." Her eyes filled with fresh tears. "I'm pregnant, Marcus. We're going to have a baby." The words hung heavy in the air between us. I looked at her, really looked at her. She was radiant, glowing, the absolute picture of a joyful, expectant mother. And I felt nothing but ice-cold clarity. "Congratulations," I said in an even tone. "Who's the father?" Her smile froze on her face like a pause video. "What?" I pulled out my phone, opened my calendar app once again. March 15th. That's the last time we shared a bed together. I turned the screen toward her, showed her 6 solid months of spare room, notes marked on every single date. It's September 22nd today. That's 6 months and 7 days of zero physical contact between us. I zoomed in on the calendar so she could see every marked day clearly. So unless this is the second coming of Christ, the mathematics simply don't add up. Her face went through a rapid transformation, confused, then deathly pale, then flushed red with anger. Are you actually accusing me of cheating? Her voice rose with indignation. I'm not accusing you of anything, I said with unnatural calmness. I'm simply asking a straightforward question. If you're pregnant and we haven't had sexual relations in 6 months, who's the biological father? This is absolutely insane. She stood up abruptly. How dare you even suggest? Kyle Henderson, I said clearly. She stopped mid-sentence, frozen. Personal trainer, 32 years old, lies at the Riverside Apartments on East 6th Street. You've been having an affair with him for at least 3 months. Her mouth opened, then closed. Open again. No words came out. I have recordings, Jennifer. GPS tracking logs. Hotel receipts with your credit card. Text message records. I know everything, every single detail. She tried to recover, tried to spin a new narrative. Okay, fine, yes. I've been seeing someone else, but this baby isn't his because we haven't had sex in 6 months, I interrupted. You just confirmed it yourself. In the car 2 weeks ago, actually, you told Kyle, and I quote, we haven't had sex in 6 months. Her eyes went wide with shock. You've been recording me? In my own car. You've been cheating on me in our marriage, I countered firmly. I'd say we're even at this point. She sat back down heavily, completely deflated. For what felt like an eternity, neither of us spoke a single word. Then she tried a different approach, her voice softer, pleading. Marcus, please. I made a terrible mistake, I admit that. But this baby, we can raise it together. You always wanted to be a father so desperately. I almost laughed out loud at the absurdity. You want me to raise another man's child after you've been systematically lying to me for months? People do it all the time, she said weakly. Blended families. It's completely normal now. Not me. Never me. I stood up and headed toward the door. I've already filed for divorce, Jennifer. You'll be served with papers tomorrow morning. Her face went ghost white. You what? I filed 3 days ago with the court. I was waiting to see if you'd actually tell me the truth about anything. I grabbed my keys. Apparently, you wouldn't have. Marcus, wait, please. Congratulations on the baby, Jennifer. I genuinely hope Kyle's excited about fatherhood. I walked out and drove to a hotel downtown. Spent the night there. Didn't sleep at all. She was served with divorce papers the next morning at her real estate office. I know the exact timing because her lawyer called me within an hour, his voice tight with controlled anger. Mr. Bennett, this is Richard Dalton. I represent Jennifer Bennett. I'd like to discuss a potential settlement arrangement. I'm listening. My client is willing to agree to a completely clean split. No alimony requests. No claims whatsoever on your assets or future earnings. She just wants to move forward with her life. That sounds generous, I said carefully. What's the catch? She'd like you to refrain from discussing certain private matters publicly. You mean the affair? Among other things, yes. Mr. Dalton, I have zero interest in public humiliation or social media drama. But I'm also not interested in being defrauded or manipulated. If she tries in any way to claim that child is mine biologically, I will use every single piece of evidence I have in court. Are we crystal clear on that? A pause. Understood, Mr. Bennett. We agreed to meet the following week to hammer out details. The meeting took place in a conference room downtown. Jennifer and her lawyer on one side, me and Patricia on the other. Jennifer looked exhausted. The glow was completely gone, replaced by dark circles under her eyes. Richard started the negotiation. We're prepared to offer a straightforward division of all marital assets. The house will be sold, proceeds split 50-50. Retirement accounts divided according to state law. No alimony requested on either side. Patricia nodded professionally. And the child? Richard hesitated, glanced at Jennifer. My client acknowledges that Mr. Bennett is not the biological father. I felt a grim sense of satisfaction wash over me. She's willing to sign a legal affidavit to that effect, Richard continued. In exchange, Mr. Bennett agrees not to contest custody arrangements or child support obligations. Done, I said immediately. Agreed. Jennifer looked up, genuine surprise on her face. Really? Just like that? Really? I said, looking directly at her. I don't want anything to do with that child. It's not mine. It's not my responsibility in any capacity. Her eyes filled with tears, but I felt nothing. Sign the papers, Jennifer. She did, hands shaking as she wrote her signature. But of course, it wasn't over. It never is that simple. Comment karma if you think she got exactly what she deserved. Because what happens next proves that lies always catch up with you eventually. 2 weeks after we both signed the settlement agreement, Patricia called me with urgency in her voice. We have a serious problem, Marcus. My stomach dropped. What kind of problem? Jennifer's attorney is now claiming you're the biological father. They're demanding a court-ordered paternity test. I felt my jaw clench involuntarily. She signed a legal affidavit stating I wasn't the father. She's recanting that statement now. Claims she was emotionally coerced into signing it under duress. Anger flooded through me. She's lying. She's a liar. I know that, and you know that. But we need to prove it definitively in court. Ow! Paternity test. DNA evidence. But here's the advantage for us. When the test shows you're not the biological father, we can use that to prove attempted fraud. We can go after her for all legal fees, emotional distress damages, everything. I actually smiled for the first time in weeks. Set it up immediately. The paternity test was conducted at a medical clinic in North Austin. I gave a simple cheek swab. Jennifer provided medical records showing the baby's DNA profile from her prenatal screening. We waited 2 agonizing weeks for the results to come back. When they finally arrived, Patricia called me immediately, triumph in her voice. You're not the father. 0% genetic match. Not even remotely possible. Good. Better than good, Marcus. We can now prove definitively that she attempted to defraud you in the court system. I'm filing an amended petition with the judge today. Do it. The next court hearing had a completely different atmosphere. Jennifer's lawyer looked visibly rattled, shuffling papers nervously. Jennifer herself looked utterly defeated, staring down at the table. The judge, an older woman with sharp eyes, reviewed the paternity test results carefully, reviewed the timeline of our separation, reviewed the audio recordings I'd submitted as evidence. Mrs. Bennett, the judge said, her voice stern and commanding. Did you or did you not attempt to claim your husband was the biological father of your child, knowing full well he was not? Jennifer's lawyer jumped in quickly. Your Honor, my client was confused and emotionally distraught during. The judge held up her hand sharply. I'm asking Mrs. Bennett directly. Counsel. Jennifer looked at the table, unable to meet anyone's eyes. Yes, Your Honor. And did you sign a legal affidavit acknowledging he was not the father, then subsequently recant that sworn statement? A long, painful pause. Yes, Your Honor. The judge set down her pen deliberately. This constitutes fraud, Mrs. Bennett. You attempted to deceive this court and your husband for direct financial gain. That is unacceptable in my courtroom. She turned to Patricia. What is the plaintiff seeking? Full reimbursement of all legal fees incurred, Your Honor, plus court-ordered sanctions for filing fraudulent claims. The judge nodded. Granted. Mrs. Bennett will pay all legal fees incurred by Mr. Bennett throughout these proceedings. Additionally, she will receive no portion of the marital home or any retirement account assets. Jennifer's head snapped up in shock. What? Your Honor, that's. You committed fraud, Mrs. Bennett, the judge said firmly. This court does not reward fraudulent behavior under any circumstances. The original settlement agreement is hereby voided due to your material misrepresentation. Richard tried to object, scrambling. Your Honor, my client has a child to support. The judge shut him down immediately. Your client should have considered that before committing perjury. This hearing is concluded. I walked out of that courthouse with everything. The house, my retirement accounts intact, my dignity restored, my truth validated. Jennifer walked out with nothing but a baby that wasn't mine and a legal bill she could never afford. Patricia shook my hand on the courthouse steps, genuine admiration in her expression. That's the cleanest one I've seen in my entire career. Thank you for everything, Patricia. What will you do now? She asked. I looked up at the Austin sky, clear and blue and endless with possibility. Move forward. Just move forward. 6 months later, I sold a house. Too many memories haunted every room. Too many ghosts lurking in every corner. I bought a condo downtown. Smaller, simpler, cleaner. Completely mine. I threw myself into my work with renewed focus, earned a significant promotion, started traveling to technology conferences, and slowly, gradually, I started to feel like myself again. Like Marcus. Not the betrayed husband, just Marcus. One random day, I was at a coffee shop near my office when I saw her. Not Jennifer. Someone else entirely. Her name was Emma. She was a graphic designer, freelance, creative in ways I'd never considered. We'd actually met months earlier at a tech meetup, but never really talked. This time, we started a real conversation about work, about Austin's growth, about life in general. She didn't know my story, had no idea about Jennifer or the divorce or the courtroom drama or any of it. She just knew me as Marcus, software engineer, coffee enthusiast, guy who laughs way too hard at terrible puns. And honestly, that felt incredibly good. We started seeing each other slowly, carefully. I didn't rush anything, didn't push for commitment. I'd learned harsh lessons about trust. But Emma was different from anyone I'd known. She was honest, direct, straightforward. No games, no hidden agendas. One night over dinner at a small Italian place, she asked me directly, "Have you ever been married before?" I paused, fork halfway to my mouth. "Yeah, it didn't work out. I'm sorry that happened to you." "Don't be sorry. Honestly, I'm better off now." She smiled warmly. "Good, because I really like who you are now, Marcus." And I realized something profound in that moment. Jennifer had tried to trap me with an elaborate lie, tried to make me responsible for another man's child. But the truth had set me completely free. If you've ever rebuilt your life after betrayal, type stronger in the comments. Stay with me because the final chapters will show you that sometimes the best revenge is simply living well. I heard through mutual friends that Jennifer had the baby. A boy. Healthy, no complications. Kyle wasn't in the picture at all. Left when things got legally and financially complicated, apparently. Typical. She was raising the child alone, working 2 jobs just to make ends meet, struggling with childcare costs. Part of me felt genuinely bad for her situation. She was a human being dealing with real consequences. But a bigger part of me remembered the recordings. The calculated lies. The deliberate attempt to make me legally and financially responsible for a child that wasn't biologically mine. She made her choices consciously. Now, she was living with the direct consequences of those choices. 1 year after the divorce was finalized, I received a message on LinkedIn from Jennifer. Brief. Unexpected. "Marcus, I know I don't deserve any response from you, but I wanted to say I'm truly sorry for everything I put you through. You deserve so much better than what I gave you. I hope you're happy now." I stared at that message for a long time, read it over and over. Then I deleted it. Not out of anger, not out of spite or vindictiveness, but because I genuinely moved on with my life, and she was part of a chapter one simply didn't live anymore. 2 years after the divorce, Emma and I got married. Small ceremony at a vineyard outside the city. Close friends only. My brother as best man. Her sister as maid of honor. No drama, no complications. We honeymooned in Italy for 2 glorious weeks. Ate way too much fresh pasta. Drank far too much wine. Laughed until our sides ached and our faces hurt. One evening, sitting on a balcony overlooking the Amalfi Coast at sunset, she took my hand gently. "I'm so glad I met you when I did," she said softly. "Me too, Emma. Me too. Do you ever think about before? About what happened?" I looked out at the Mediterranean water, deep blue and endless. "Sometimes, but not the way you might think." "What do you mean?" "I don't miss it. I don't regret it ending. I just learned crucial lessons from it." "Like what?" I turned to face her fully. That the truth always comes out eventually. And when it does, you want to be standing on the right side of it. She squeezed my hand affectionately. I'll definitely drink to that wisdom. We clinked our wine glasses together, and I realized something profound. Jennifer had tried to rewrite history, tried to manipulate reality to make me the father of a child that wasn't mine. But history doesn't rewrite itself that easily. The truth does that work for you automatically. 3 years after the divorce was completely finalized, I was cleaning out old file boxes in the condo when I found them. The recordings. All of them. The ones I made in her car. The ones that proved everything beyond doubt. I held the USB drive in my hand, thinking about everything it represented. The betrayal. The systematic lies. The exact moment my first marriage truly died. Then I walked to the kitchen, turned on the gas stove, and held the drive directly over the blue flame. It melted slowly, plastic bubbling and warping, metal components twisting. Emma walked into the kitchen. "What are you doing?" "Letting go," I said simply. She watched the drive melt into absolutely nothing, becoming unrecognizable. Then she wrapped her arms around me from behind, resting her head on my shoulder. "I'm proud of you, Marcus." "For what?" "For choosing to move forward instead of staying stuck looking backward." I turned off the stove, tossed the melted plastic remains in the trash can. "I don't need proof anymore," I said. "I know what happened. I know who I am. That's enough." And it genuinely was enough. Tell me in the comments. And if you've dealt with something similar, share your story. You're not alone. Subscribe for more stories about standing your ground and reclaiming your life. Last month, Emma told me she was pregnant. We were sitting in the same kitchen where Jennifer had told me her elaborate lie 3 years earlier. But this time, everything was fundamentally different. "Are you happy about this?" Emma asked, nervousness in her voice. "Tell me honestly." I pulled her close, held her tight. "I'm absolutely terrified and incredibly excited and so happy all at once." "Good," she whispered against my chest. "Because I am too." We sat there together for a long time, just holding each other, and I thought about how drastically different this moment was from that other one years ago. No lies between us. No doubts. No questions about paternity or trust or truth. Just two people building a genuine life together the right way. With honesty. With respect. With love. If this moment touched your heart, type "real love" in the comments. Because the ending will show you that beautiful beginnings can come from painful endings. Our daughter was born on a Tuesday morning in March. The same month Jennifer had asked for separate bedrooms 3 years prior. But this time there was no separation, no emotional distance, no walls between us. Just Emma, me, and a tiny, perfect human being who had my eyes and her mother's beautiful smile. I held her in the hospital room, this absolutely perfect little person, and felt something I'd never experienced before in my entire life. Complete, total, overwhelming peace. "What should we name her?" Emma asked, exhausted but glowing. I looked down at my daughter, this miracle. "Hope." Emma smiled through happy tears. "Hope Bennett. I love it so much." "Me too." Because that's exactly what she was. Living, breathing proof that after betrayal, after devastating lies, after everything falls completely apart, you can still build something absolutely beautiful. You just have to be willing to start over with nothing but truth. 5 years later, I was at a neighborhood park with Hope. She was running around the playground, pigtails bouncing wildly, laughing at absolutely everything with pure joy. Emma was beside me on the bench, visibly pregnant with her second child. "Daddy, push me." Hope called from the swings. "Push me higher." I jogged over, started pushing her gently, then harder. "Higher?" I asked. "Higher," she squealed with delight. "You absolutely sure?" "Higher, Daddy." I pushed harder. She laughed with that pure, completely uninhibited laugh that only children can manage, the kind that comes from deep in the belly. And I thought about the man I was 5 years ago. Broken, betrayed, sitting alone in a spare bedroom, wondering how his marriage had died, without him even noticing. That man wouldn't recognize me now. This man, this father, this husband, this builder of a genuine life. He's someone I'm genuinely proud to be. "Daddy, watch this." Hope jumped off the swing midair, landed in the sand with a soft thud, threw her arms up like an Olympic gymnast sticking a landing. "Ta-da! 10 out of 10. I called, applauding. Perfect landing. She ran back to me, hugged my legs tight. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, Hope. So much. Emma walked over slowly, took my hand in hers. You good? She asked softly. I looked at my daughter, at my wife, at the life we'd built from absolute scratch, from nothing but honesty and commitment. Yeah, I said, meaning every word. I'm good. I'm really good. And I meant it with every fiber of my being. Because the truth didn't just set me free from a toxic marriage. It gave me absolutely everything I never even knew I needed. It gave me hope in every sense of the word. Hope is my daughter's name. Hope is a feeling. Hope is a way of living. Years ago, I thought my life was over. Thought I'd never trust again, never love again, never build a family. But I was wrong. The ending of my first marriage wasn't the end of my story. It was just the end of a painful chapter. And sometimes, the most beautiful chapters are the ones that come after you've survived the worst ones. Sometimes, you have to lose everything to find what truly matters. Sometimes, betrayal breaks you open so that something better can grow in that space. If this story reminded you that endings can become beautiful new beginnings, comment new chapter right now. If you've ever had to rebuild your entire life after betrayal, know that you're not alone in that struggle. You're not the first, and you won't be the last. Hit subscribe and stay with me. Because the best stories aren't about perfect people living perfect lives. They're about real people who chose to keep going even when it hurt like hell. Especially when it hurt. The truth will always set you free. But first, it might break your heart. And that's okay. Because on the other side of that heartbreak, that's where real life begins. That's where hope lives.